Hi guys, Mrs. Vara here. This video is for lesson 12-2. Here's my funny slide about a special rule that is also my favorite no that you might break. This is your reminder not to break this rule because every time you do this a kitten dies. Okay, so here's the objective. What I want to tell you that in this video I am not doing these examples. Okay, I'm going right to the adding and subtracting examples. Here are our steps. Now these steps 1 and 2 are the same steps you had for adding fractions that you learned in 3rd grade. Find a common denominator, add your numerators. Now we're going to have polynomials in our numerator, so step 3 is combine like terms, and these two steps 4 and 5 are brand new. When you combine like terms, you may not be done. You need to look at your numerator after you combine like terms and see if you can factor it. And then if you can, you need to factor it and then find out if you can simplify one step more. And remember, common denominator is going to be the same as the least. Let's look at the first example. So your step 1 is always on all of these Unit 12 problems. Step 1 is always going to be to factor. So I'm going to factor, I'm going to tell you this can be factored, this denominator and this denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and factor those. I'm not going to go through the factoring steps because we've done a ton of factoring, and if I go through how I factored these, this video will be too long. So you should pause the video and factor those on your own and make sure you got the same thing that I got. Now what you want to think is, what of these factors do I need to combine to get a common denominator? Okay, so I'm going to have a 2. I'm going to have an x plus 3. I'm going to have an x minus 2. So from this first fraction, I need basically everything. If I look at the second fraction, I need an x plus 2. I don't need another x minus 2 because I already have that in my denominator there. So my least common denominator is going to be 2 times x plus 3 times x minus 2 times x plus 2. Okay, now I'm going to write this first fraction again. And what you need to think about is, what do I need to multiply the top and bottom of both of these fractions by to get me to my least common denominator? Okay, so if I look at this first fraction, I have a 2, an x plus 3, and x minus 2. What I'm missing is an x plus 2. So I have to multiply the top and bottom of this first fraction by x plus 2. Now my denominator here matches my least common denominator that I developed up here. And in this second one, I need to multiply the top and bottom by 2 times x plus 3. So I'm going to put that like that on the second one. Okay? So I found a common denominator. Now I can combine my numerators and keep my common denominator. So I'm going to do that on the next slide. So when I combine or simplify my numerator, I want to keep that in x or in black. I'm going to have 6x minus 12 minus, we're going to have to distribute that negative, so be careful with the minuses here, 2 times 2x plus 6. Okay, and this is all going to be over my common denominator. So I'm writing my numerator together. I combined my numerator and I'm writing it all under my common denominator. So now it's just keep simplifying. So on the top I'm going to have 6x plus 12 minus 4x plus 12. I'm keeping that minus outside those parentheses so I don't forget to distribute that negative sign all over this common denominator. Yes, it's a lot of writing. So now on the top I have 6x plus 12 minus, oh, I don't want to do that. Oop, okay, minus 6x plus 12 minus 4x minus 12 all over that common denominator. X plus 2, x minus 2. Now if I combine like terms, this is kind of nice. Positive 12 and negative 12 cancel out. 6x minus 4x just gets me 2x on the top. And all of this on the bottom. And I'm so close to being done. One more step. 2 divided by 2 gets me 1. So my answer is x over x plus 3, x plus 2, x minus 2. Okay, done. All right, now I'm going to turn problems. Number 5. Looks like I got the answer right here over on the side. But let's see how we get to this 4 over x plus 1. And I'm also going to try to think about how I can fit this on one page. I'm going to try writing smaller here. So first, I always want to factor. This numerator can be factored. 3 times x plus 1. I took out a greatest common factor there. My denominator factors into x plus 1 times x plus 1 plus x minus 1. This factors into x plus 1, x minus 1. So my common denominator is going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1 times x minus 1. So if I think about the first fraction, what I need to multiply the top and bottom by is x minus 1. That's basically the missing factor in the first fraction. And what I need to multiply the second one by, let me make this a little longer, is I have x plus 1, I have x minus 1, I need another x plus 1. So what my least common denominator here is, it's x plus 1 squared times x minus 1. Okay, now let's multiply across the top. So this is going to be, if I multiply x plus 1 times x minus 1, what I get is this. And if you want to multiply that out and see how I got that, that will be helpful. And then over here on the top I have x plus 1 times x minus 1, so that is x squared minus 1. So that's my combining my numerator. And then my greatest common denominator here, so now I'm putting everything over one denominator, is that. Now I'm simplifying. So this becomes 3x squared minus 3 plus x squared minus 1 all over x plus 1 squared times x minus 1. And that equals 4x squared minus 4 all over x plus 1 squared times x minus 1. And this is where we actually have to do that step 3 and step 4. Because if you notice, this can be factored. So I need to take out that 4, which is a common factor in my numerator. And then I have x plus 1 squared all over x minus 1. Now, see this x squared minus 1? That can also be factored. That's factors into x plus 1, x minus 1. So definitely we're using that step 3 and 4. And now you can see why. X minus 1 divided by x minus 1 cancel. And x plus 1 to the 1 divided by x plus 1 squared becomes, what I'm going to be left with here is an x plus 1 on the bottom. So my final answer is what I have on the top. Oops, and this x plus 1 is going to be gone. What I have on the top is a 4. What I have on the bottom is an x plus 1. So I went fast on this. I encourage you, if you need to, rewind, watch it again, and see if you can follow all the steps. So that is it for 12-2.